Harbor Freight type tool, and it runs forever for 'em. I don't know. I mean, I keep it oiled. It doesn't. I don't have it jamming up or anything. The cable just keeps breaking off inside the end. And I think I'm probably, if anything, working it easier than what he is, because he's constantly going, you know, chiseling through wood with it and things. So, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. Let me get this down here, out here for the birds. There. And we're going to take this off. I'm going to move you guys. Where can I put you? Where does this cable take me? Let me go on the other side for a minute here. Hold on. I got the 360 out here, which I found works good with just one lens. Actually, I could use that one for now. Can you see enough of that? This wire's in the way, isn't it? That's a plug for something. What the hell's a plug for? I have no idea. I need a bigger shop. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take that right off there, because it's time to move it anyway. Because if I can't use it like that, I'm not going to be grinding up here that much. I mean, I did use it up here, but I don't like it up here because it's right in your face if something breaks. But it was the best place for this to be. But because I'm not going to be using this up here anymore with this, and it's going to be used as a grinder only. Okay, well, I don't see let it come off. I know why. I do. That I used a couple of large stainless steel screws, because it was the only thing I had at the time. And stainless steel screws strip real easy. You really don't want to use there. You really shouldn't use an electric drill on stainless. So there's to it. Now let me find the cord. Oh, this is going to be a nightmare. I see. Why did I do that? Let me get the torque head. I didn't plan on taking it apart. That's what my problem was. Therefore, I didn't think ahead. I'm down here on this side now because I got to get this board away from that, because I got just enough channel for the cord to fit in. But this may not work because I got the bandsaw sitting here in the way. I do. And like any good non-thinking person, I screwed the bandsaw down. So now I gotta move the bandsaw to get to the screws. I think that should do it. Why don't I just make more work for myself? Well, you know what I'm learning? I'm learning that things don't last forever, so I gotta make sure that I make provisions there it is. And make everything so that it can be moved easily, so I don't make more work for myself. Okay. Now that we got that, which one is it? I can bring you guys down here now. Hold on. This box is held on to the stud over here, and this is in a little channel about yay wide by about yay long with 4 other cables in it. So I'm just trying to figure out which one it is. So I know which one to unplug. But, as you can tell, I've overdone it. I never planned on moving this electrical box, so. Okay. Now, which one are you? Right here. Okay. You go down, and around, and up. That's not you. This is you. That's you. Okay, so now where do you go? To here. Okay. Hey, hey. Okay, now let me finish over here. And here and there. Okay. Alright, I'm not going to put that back together yet. I want to make sure that it's all, it is. It's all out in hand. I'm going to leave that just like that for now. I'm going to bring you guys back over here so you can see the mess that I'm making. So this is where we're at, guys. This was that piece that I made. See what I had to do in here? I wonder if I turn this on and put it up close, how it works. Yep, up close and personal. And I think I have, yeah, I do. I have it on one lens. And we'll put you right there. Okay. Oh. Get in there. There you are? Yeah. Okay. Alright. Now see, this cable is much better. The cable lasted, it's just the end didn't. Okay, and this sleeve goes on and screws on over this because this has the thread inside it, the threaded nut. I don't think I'll be able to do it with this. No, I'm just going to unscrew this. We don't want to do that. I don't remember now. If that unscrews from there or here. Oh, there it is. Trying to remember what I have here when I don't. Oh, wait a minute. I thought I brought out a small pair of needle nose. Not needle nose. There you are. But I may need to put a wrench inside. I really don't remember how I put this on here now. I remember being in here with a wrench. And I'm thinking I still have to go in there with a wrench. I think that nut in there is the one that I have to take off. I'm going to go get a couple of wrenches. Now I don't remember. I don't remember. I mean, it's been a while. But I remember there was two different sizes. And I had to work in this small spot with it. And I tried to do it by taking the cover off, but you can't because the cover has to slide over this and it doesn't give you the room that you need. I remember this being a nightmare. It really wasn't an easy task. Let's see. I mean, it may not be worth me even taking this off to start with. This is the one I was trying to undo. So let's see. Here we go. Yeah, now I remember that. I fed it through and did this. Okay. So that's off. Now I'm going to keep this. Just by chance, a flange comes along for this side. Because this has already all been, as you can see, this all had to be modified to fit on here, to fit in there. And it wasn't an easy task, by no means. And this is the cable in here that kept breaking. With the Harbor Freight piece. Okay, now let me make sure all these are back on nice and tight. I just had the wrench. What I do with it? I only brought out one wrench for that? That was foolish. I'm not even going to worry about this either for now. Okay, so now this little mini grinder can now, you put the leg back in. Where'd you go, leg? I just had you. Now this little mini grinder can go somewhere on a mini grinder bench. Hey! This was another thing that broke, the shield. Should have kept the shield off the other one. But how did you know they're going to break? Okay, that's good. Now this as it is, so far I haven't had any problems with this as it is, as a little sander buffer. So we're going to put this right here for now. For now, here we go again. Here we go. A mess is a mess is a mess. What would this place be like if it wasn't a mess? It wouldn't be me. I gotta start working my neck more. All right. We're both recording now. This is recording on a single lens, and we were up close and personal, so I don't know. We'll see how it works. I'm going to now screw that back in over there as soon as I find the right one, because that's a Phillips. These are torque. There it is. Torque. 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 even tell me. Just go. It's the only thing I don't care about the new lithium batteries. Well, on this one anyway, I think they're all the same. They don't give you a warning. You know, like a little slow down to give you that little extra, oh, I know it's happening, let me stop. Nope, just. That's only got 2 in it. This one here is blinking. Let me put this on charge. Okay, now I don't think, no, I'm not going to need that piece down there anymore. So that's a good thing. I actually was able to eliminate. I was actually able to eliminate something. Go over here, because I got to put the saw back together. Whoa! What are you doing down there, guys? I'm going over there. Alright, now that I'm over here and the saw's been disconnected, where do I want to put it? And I have an opportunity of moving it a little bit. Should I move it? Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it right where it is, right there. I moved it over about 4 inches. That gives me about 8 to 10 inches on this side, another 8 to 10 on that side. Okay. Well, we're going to cut that off. That's going to be a head grabber. I can see me going, ow! I can. I can see it coming. Now this would be easier if I if I got the extension out here for it. But let me get the extension. Do I really need it though? Nah, not really. Yeah, let me get it. I'm gonna make sure. I want to make sure. This is what I meant by the extension. Because it's a little bit lower and I can't get the gun down in between it the way I want. So by putting the extension on there, I got plenty of room to work with. And it'll help prevent the back end of this shifting around when you're trying to cut something with it. Okay, so this cable's longer, so I can move this one around a little bit. If I didn't screw it down or something. Alright, what I did was I moved this over here just a little bit. This way it gives me a little bit of room here to keep crap on. And then it gave me more room here. This is where it used to be. So like there. There's that little mini lathe. I really haven't had a chance to do anything with it. That's about the size. If anything, I may go a 1 inch, but most of what I'm going to do, that's the size, so it's just good for what I need it for. Alright, now we're back over here, guys. Alright. We're somewhat back to normal, whatever normal may be in my book. Are any of us really normal? What's normal? I like that when they do all these studies and all these people with a degree in fartism or something, you know. According to Mr. So-and-so, a fart specialist, your brain reacts in a certain way when you grunt to allow yourself to let wind from your anus. Okay. Now do you see what I did? I lost the screw that I needed for this. Leave it up to me. Did I move it like I maybe should have done? No, I didn't. Why didn't I? Because I'd rather lose it, so I have to go cut it again. I'm not going to do anything because I know it's around here someplace, and it will pop up. Maybe not. I do have an extra shelf up here now. I just got to get that screw out of there. Which I'm going to have to use pliers on. Vice grips would have been nice, but I don't feel like going back out in the shop, or that side of the shop. I got all the doors open. And just a fan on. I should turn the overhead fan on too. No, it's really not too bad out there. I mean, if I wasn't doing anything and just sitting, it probably wouldn't be bad at all. I'll get that wood off there. Throw that away. Now these things, those, believe it or not, are partially threaded into that wood. I made the hole a little smaller, but they screw in down here on the other side. These holes that are down here are just holes, they're not threaded. But on that side, they're threaded. And these will screw into those threads so that if I want to hold something down and use it as a pivot point so I can cut a circle or a shape on the table saw, I can do it. Here it is, here it is. I can do it by, I knew it would be here someplace, by just putting those in and cutting a hole or a circle. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Let me just get this in here. I know I wanted it tight. Well, it's tight. Perfect. Nicey, nicey. Good. Now, can I get that door closed? Because I don't want that open. And if I can't get it closed, I'm not going to use this. No. means is this really worth me going through this? Hold on a minute. I'm going to try this. If it works, okay. If it doesn't, screw it. Alright, let's let that cool. So anyway, guys, turn you over here. This 360 over here, the Samsung Gear 360, when I found that one of the only reasons why I bought it is because I was interested in them. Ah, here it is. But everything I seen out there was $300, $400, $500. I mean, a 300 was like, can you find one? And then that night, I was on Amazon. No, I wasn't. Because I was searching, you know how everybody's watching. Well, the next thing I know, I get an ad pop up in the corner on the Samsung 360. So I go to it, $81. Normally $250 or something like that. $81. So I did a little search on it on YouTube to find out more about it for $81. Normally $250, which is sometimes just a bullshit, you know. Suggested retail $10,000, but today you can have it for $10. Well, who's the one that sets the retail? The suggested retail. I mean, so if you think about it, you know who you're believing or not believing. But anyway, when I seen it, I looked at it. I did some research on YouTube, and I seen a lot of. That ain't gonna work there. Hold on. I seen a lot of good videos from it, and everybody was saying how they spent. You know, for $249, it was a deal. This is what they're all saying. So I said, you know what, I gotta try it for $81. Why not? Especially with Amazon. You can always send it back. So I ordered it. However, in doing so, I just turned it on because you women must know this, but I'll inform you just in case. Us men have every operating manual built into our brain, so we don't need to read books. So, I put the book out here, and I'm in the house with the camera, and I am going through it, but apparently my directory wasn't fed properly or something, because it wasn't working. So I had to come back out here to get the update book so I can update. There. Okay, that's done. Well, my problem is working the camera wasn't a big deal. But how do you edit the movie? How do you edit it to get it to where you want to put it? There's no disc. Well, in the book, the little book had little writing, and it said, go here and download this for free. There's the program. So it came with a free program. And like I say, you know what? For the money, it's a fun camera to have. I wasn't sure on how it would do with a single lens. I didn't even know. Apparently that index I have must have got shaken around someplace. But when I was going through it to format the CD, to format the SD card, it says lens 1, 2. Oh, okay. So that's what I've been trying. Well, where I'm going here is, you know what? For the money that I paid for it, it really isn't worth. I mean, it's worth the money. Let's put it that way. That's what I'm trying to say. For the money, it's really not a bad camera. Even for a single lens, I was surprised. I would probably buy another one if the price was the same or better. I would not spend $250, even though for some people it would be worth it for them to spend that. And I'm not saying for this one alone, but for any 360 camera, I don't have a need for it to justify a $300 bill. Besides, if I had a $300 bill, it would either be counterfeit or worth a lot more than $300. So, yeah. But like I say, for the money, really not a bad deal at all. Again, if this broke, I'd buy another one, as long as it was in the same price range. So, because it really isn't bad. The only thing I noticed is the lighting coming in from the top could be a little Striagnus. I still haven't found out who Striagnus is. Anyway, sometimes you get a little glare from it because of the lenses being rounded a little bit, and sometimes it'll make certain parts of your body protrude more. So if you're trying to hide this, it's not going to happen. If you want to make these bigger, just find the right spot on the lens. Boing. I know, chauvinistic. Hey, there's a lot of us guys out there that have them too. But it's not a bad camera. And it's a fun camera to have hanging around. It really is. In here, it gets a little tough, you know, because what do? You pan around, you see what's going on, you zoom in, you zoom out. And I found on YouTube, with me anyway, if I'm just watching the small frame with all the little icons on the side, I can't zoom in. I have to go to large frame, open up to a full screen. Then I can use my scroll button to zoom in and out. But other than that, all right, I want to get all this crap from over here. Kydex. I'm waiting for some to come in because Tom This was a template that I started using. I was actually going to use it, but I decided to use wood instead. A friend of mine, Tom, who I have coffee with, on Mondays, bought a new Glock 45, and he wants a holster to match his other Glock that I made him for. Now he can buy him, it's not a big deal, you know, and by no means is he cheap. But it's just one of those things to where, you know, if I can make it for him, can you make it for me? Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I'm dusting. I'm dusting. Close up nose. So anyway, I had to order the Kydex. I do have some over there, I just don't think I have enough. And I don't want to have them come over if we can't press the whole thing and get it done. Because I really don't want to keep his gun over here. I mean, he doesn't mind, but you know what? If you can take it with you, take it with you. And I normally don't do holsters for just anybody because I just, well, I don't have the time for it, and it's not something I make money on. You know? I have done a couple for friends. But Tom is one of the only few friends that I can consider taking their firearm for a few days and not have to worry about it. Now what I mean by that is when I do training in firearms, I go through a couple of little spiels. Let me put that up there. About firearm training and the do's and the don'ts and stuff like that. And one of them is, don't be touching other people's guns. And don't be letting them touch your guns. Where can I put this? This has got a real long cord on it, so I got to get another one of these for the other camera. They're two different cords. There. Because again, let's talk hypothetically here. Times are changing. It's getting so you really can't trust many people anymore. Regardless of how well you think you know them. There's very few that I can say I actually trust. Tom being one, Paulie, Vinny, and these are not family members, but these are just people. Vinny, I like to think I can trust his son Dave, but I haven't seen Dave since he was maybe 3 or 4 years old. And he's probably 40 now. But you kind of know where I'm going. You know, there's very few that I can trust. And when I say trust, I mean somebody that if I say, can you do this? Or would you do this? They're not going to question why. They're just going to do it. Because they know that I'm not going to put them in harm's way, or I wouldn't ask them to do something that's wrong. If it was wrong, I'd tell them, listen, this isn't right. I'll understand if you don't want to do it. But meanwhile, where I'm going here, I'm getting off track, is that when I do firearm classes, I say, don't be touching other people's firearms. There's no need for it. And I've said this before. You may think it wrong, you may think I'm crazy, but this is the way I am. I'll give you an idea what I'm talking about. When I'm on the range with a student or anybody, the minute I step into the gun club, a rag goes over my shoulder. It's there for a number of reasons. One is I can wipe my gun down. Two is if you're sweating. Three is if there's no toilet paper in the bathroom. No, but at that point, you know, I keep this here. Now, why is that there? Well, it's mainly there because I don't want to touch your firearm, and there's no need for me to be touching your firearm. However, if you're a friend or a member, a friend, you know, that belongs to the club, because, you know, we all like to consider ourselves, you know, friends. We're club brothers, if that's what you want to call it. Some get along better with others, some don't. You know, there are your little cliques. But regardless, we're there. And if somebody says to me, can you try my gun out? And this has happened. You know, well, why? I mean, I know what the guns feel like. I mean, I know, you know, why do, you know, but for some reason or another, they want you to try their gun out. Could be they just bought it and they're proud of it. You don't want to hurt their feelings. You know, so okay. Well, now, what's on that gun now that wasn't on it before? If you think about it, it's simple. Your fingerprints. Now, I don't know where you've been because I just met you at the range. Even though I know you, I just met you at the range. I hadn't seen you prior to that. I have no idea what you did with your gun, who used your gun, and where your gun has been. So why do I want to put my fingerprints all over your gun? I don't even know if you're handing me that gun to really try, or because you want my fingerprints on it. Why would you want your fingerprints on a gun? Well, let's just assume something here. Let's assume in the heat of the moment, for some reason or another, he lost his head and he used it. In defense or not. but nobody's aware of it yet. Well, what do you want to do? You want to try to put off. You want to start changing the track. You want to change the direction on how. Well, let me get this off. If I use one of your firearms at the range, before I give it back to you, I wipe it down and I hand it back to you like this. My prints are not on that gun when it leaves my hand. That's why that towel is on my shoulder all the time. Now, if you use that gun and shot somebody with it and then panicked, and the person you shot has not been discovered yet, you're going to want to do whatever you can to steer the police away from you. You want to give them doubt. Oh, it's so-and-so's gun. It's registered to so-and-so. Where were you? Who had your gun last? Whatever the case may be. Well, you can say anything. Yeah, it's word against word. But you can still say it. And once you say, oh, so-and-so had it, well, you didn't say that you met up with me at the range and I shot it at the range, because you want to leave a lot of that out, because you want them, you're trying to divert them away from you. So the next thing you know, I'm getting questioned about your gun. Did you use so-and-so's gun? Yeah. I used it, and they're not going to give you questions to help clear yourself. They're going to give you questions that are going to leave a bunch of open doors so they can start building on it. What did I do with the brush? Oh, no. Okay. Did you see what I did with the brush? Now come on, it's not like this is a little brush. So anyway, oh, there it is. So the more avenues that a person can give on that firearm, the less chances or the less eyes are coming off of him. Because now you're giving the department other things to investigate. Now, oh, I'm innocent, I didn't do it. Well, yeah, we know that. How many innocent people were in jail, do you think? How many innocent people got electrocuted? But let's put that aside. How much is it going to cost you to prove your innocence? Because if they're suspecting you, they're going to be looking over your shoulder. They may even pick you up, depending on how the evidence starts to turn. Which means now you're going to have to get bonded out, get an attorney. Now it's going to start costing you money for what? Because you didn't even borrow. You used the gun that I asked you to use. Here, try my gun. Innocently enough, you try it. You didn't know what my motive was. My motive was to try to detour, try to get the eyes off of me alone, try to give them other things to go on. Now, I may not be doing this to try to get you locked up for something, but the more it goes on, the more the evidence changes. You're thinking, well, maybe they'll just drop the case. Can't find it. That's it. I know I'm speaking in circles here, but I'm hoping you're getting the idea. What happened if I used it? I shot somebody, and I want to throw the gun out, right? And report it stolen. Well, that's basically a giveaway, but people that shoot people in panic don't think. All they think about is, how am I going to get away with this? I don't want to go to jail. And meanwhile, they're not thinking right. So I go to the range. Hey, Frank, how you doing? I just picked up another gun. Here, try it out. See how you like it. I seem to be having a problem, you know. See how you like it. Frank tries it. Oh, all right. Well, I'll catch you later. I take off. I throw the gun away. Report it stolen. Now, the fingerprints are not going to last forever. But if by chance it does get found, or my weird thinking is, well, now it's got other prints on it, so let me throw it someplace to where it is found, you know, because again, people don't think straight. And meanwhile, Frank's fingerprints are all over this thing. And I reported it stolen. Now they're, Frank? Yeah. Are you familiar with? Oh yeah. Did you use his gun or see his gun or do anything with his gun in any way, shape, or form? Oh, I used it at the range. Well, we just found it was used in a shooting. Can you give me a little bit more information and more detail? Now you got to remember, law enforcement's trained to trust no one. They try to go by facts alone. However, even though they try to do that, it doesn't always work. If they don't like the way you look or the way you talk to them, that changes their perspective a lot. And then it starts to become more personal. So you want to really pay attention. And when you're talking to law enforcement on anything, you don't have to be afraid of them. All you got to do is give them a little respect and answer a couple of their questions. They're not asking you these questions to, well, most of the time, they're not asking these questions to be a pain in the ass. I keep putting this down and it keeps popping up and I don't want to have to make another one, so I got to figure out a way of doing something with this for now. Keep it down, but yet so that I remember where the hell it is. Oh, I'll put it there. Okay. Oh, my hair's a mess. I got to take a shower today. I took one last night, but for some reason I just feel cruddy. Alright, we're pretty well organized here, guys. So it's not a good idea to touch other people's guns. That's all there is to it. And if you're going to buy a gun from somebody, make sure you put down the time that you take possession, as well as the date and the day. the time. Because that can be important. Gee, I brought it on Friday. Okay. What time on Friday? So-and-so said you picked it up at 8 o'clock in the morning. And it was used in a shooting at noontime. You see what I mean? I mean, this should happen. So I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. You may not see it. You know, you may think it's all TV. Okay. Now, I do have some Kydex over there, but I don't have enough. I got the Kydex press over there, which I made some time ago. Let me turn this around, I'll show it to you. Just in case, because it's been a long time since I've used it. Let me get these out of the way for now. For now. You notice that? There's always a for now with me. For now. For now. So meanwhile, I made a Kydex press. This is it. You take these, you loosen them up. Yep. And why I put these on there is because I think they're quicker. And then I made this pad. This is a heat-resistant rubber press pad, as this is. It was one big pad. I cut it in half. And I got the toaster oven over there. And what happens is, I was going to put a hinge on it, but the hinge would have to be adjustable and lock. But the more of that you're doing, the stuff is cooling down while it's doing that, while you're doing all this stuff. So you want to be able to react and get it done relatively quickly. So by having a hinge that I can lift up and adjust and then put down and then have to tighten it would be kind of a pain in the ass. So it's easier just to do it this way. So I'd have a piece of Kydex on here. First I'd spray it down with a little oil, gun oil. Put a piece of Kydex, which is hot, out of the toaster oven. I put that there, get the gun placed on there, which I already have an idea where it's going to go. Put the other piece of Kydex over that. Set this down over the top of it. Bring these over here. Tighten it down a little bit, not a lot. Bring this one over here. Tighten it down, and then tighten them both down equally. It presses everything in for you, and you let it sit there until it cools. Then when I release them, I take it out. The Kydex had formed to the holster, to the gun. Makes sense, huh? Now, they make a couple of press. If you look for, you know, I don't know even what they know to call them, a gun press, a holster press, I have no idea. They have them that are longer. You can buy them. They're made. They have like a metal plate that they're on with that rubber stuff, and it's got the handle with the clip, and it's got that little hinge that I was talking about in the back. What it looks like is, we'll say something like this, side by side, and this is slitted. So the pivot on the centerpiece can slide up and down on the slits, adjusting in the height. But then you got more shit you got to start worrying about tightening up while you're trying to get this done before the Kydex cools down too much. So I found that to be good. Other guys do them. They make the top and the bottom, and then they use the clamps Well, to me, that's a lot of work. You know, I don't know. So I put that one together, and I made that channel. I made actually an extra one just in case. Keep it up there as a template. This here way the strap goes right in between here, and it can't fall off. And why I did it is because if I had the flat piece and the strap coming down, it's going to be tight. It's going to tighten up the wood on the ends more, but it's not going to get me even. So by having this across the top, when I tighten it down, it's tightening down evenly all the way around each one, which means it's tightening down the piece of wood evenly. And it's not just grabbing the corners and rocking and rolling in the middle someplace. Rock and roll. Now, what did I just do with that water jug? Oh, here it is. I need a little water, guys. Excuse me. I'm a water hound. Water, water, water. So, anyhow, guys, I wonder if I can pair these up together so I can just have a split screen with both of them going, but yet the sound has to be identical. Otherwise, it'll be like an echo or a double sound. Oop, a burp. I need a sound. Oh, there's another one. That's why they have that clapper. That's to match the sound to the picture. Clapper! Take one. So, we got this all cleaned up. Let me put these back real quick. Hold on. I'll be right back. You know, that Makita, or I'm sorry, the Milwaukee, that battery was stone dead. It was in there for less than 20 minutes. And it's got a full charge on it. Can't ask for any better than that. Oh, the wife saves these. Here's the bucket. I got a water bottle bucket. What else is in there? Oh, somebody threw something in there that don't belong. Shame on them. I still have to find some of this. If anybody knows where I can find this here in the States at a fair price, let me know. Rush Check. They have a green can and a red can. I want both. In Canada, they sell it for $7 a can at that Country Tire or whatever it is. However, they don't ship. So, and I told you the story. I bought cases from the company. Well, it wasn't actually from the company. Let me rephrase that a little bit. As soon as I get this crap out of my hands. I called the company that's in Canada. And I talked to one of their big shot reps. His name was Mario. And when I'm talking about Mario, and I told him that I would like to pick up a couple of cases, and where it's a good place because I like to start, you know, bringing it down here. Now there's a cord ready to go. So he gives me a name of their big time distributor in Canada, which I forgot the name of it. And they told me to ask for this one person. I call up and said, listen, I was just talking with Mario, and yeah, nice guy, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, right, okay. We got that done. We both agree. Mario's a nice guy. So now, oh, I got an itch. Oh, I got it. Ooh, ooh. I need a scratching post. So I says, well, here's what I need. He goes, oh, not a problem. I go, well, what's the cost? $14 a can. $14 a can. I says, yeah, but the tire place up there sells it for $7. Now that's Canadian dollars. Right? I'm paying you with American dollars. And there's not that much of a difference. Right? He goes, well, I'll see what I can do. I'll work something out. And that's kind of like, oh, I need to use this. Right there is where I need to use it. So anyway, give him a credit card. Stuff comes down here about a week and a half, 2 weeks later. $14 a can. And I forgot, it was like almost $5, $4 and change. You know, I may have the invoice around here someplace for shipping. This stuff is killing me. Right? I says, how am I even going to think about selling this stuff or becoming a distributor if that's what I got to pay when they're selling it for $7 a can, Canadian money, in Canada? All right? It's not going to happen. Now, I may be off on the dollars a little bit, but I know it was a lot of money. The shipping was like almost $5 a can. It was $4 change. I did a video back when I first got it in, and that would be the one that would be more accurate because I had the paper in front of me at the time. But I don't remember where I put these things. I remember where that one goes. So meanwhile, I called Mario back. And I said, Mario, I'm a little pissed off, guy. Come on. I said, he charged me full list for this stuff. American dollars. Plus $4 and change a can for shipping, which I can understand he may not have much control over the shipping, which understandable. Shipping is shipping, especially when it's coming in from another country. But you know, Canada and U.S. are kind of brothers. I know they have a lot of differences, especially right now, because we have a so-called Republican in office, and Canada is a big liberal state. But still, come on. I says, you know, especially when I see it on sale in Canada, U.S. dollars, Canadian money, at that tire joint, Country Tire or whatever it's called, for $7 a can. I mean, it's almost cheaper for me to take a couple days off and go to Canada and buy it. Really. So I do need more. However, I'm not ready to call up Mario. And he says the next time you call me, he says, and I'll make sure that you get it for 7 or better a can. Okay. But I'm not ready to call him right now and order cases of this stuff. I would probably take maybe 3, 4 cans of each one. I don't know yet. But if anybody sees it anywhere around in the U.S., rush check the red can and the green can. The green can is a protective coating. Steve Robs did a video on this stuff, and that's the guy who sold it to me. Not sold it to me, but sold me on it. This is thicker. This is like a coating, almost like an undercoating. I don't want to get it all over the camera, but here, let me do this. Okay? It's like a clear undercoating. It's thick. Where the red stuff is thinner and it penetrates and it prevents the rust. So if you see a little rust someplace, you know, and you want to penetrate in, not knowing what's behind it, and yet you want to stop it as well, the red stuff. This stuff is, like I say, almost like an undercoating. It's thick. Okay? So they're both good. I gave some away, thinking I was going to start distributing it possibly. And then I used some. I didn't sell any of it. So all I know is it cost me over $400. 430 some odd dollars, somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't remember. You know what? I'm going to shut you off for a minute here, guys. Okay. I'm going to unplug you. It's going to turn off, and then I'll have to turn it back on again. Let me turn that down and start cleaning this up a little bit. Actually, I want to go through that. I'm going to let that sit there. But that's not going to stay like that. That's going to fall. So we'll put it there. These I forgot I had. And I've been using all, well, let me put them back. I forgot I had them. And I've been looking and doing things that I could have used them on, but again, forgetting that I had them. I don't have room for these. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Huh. I've already got a full box up here, a full drawer. Okay, I gotta find something. Well, you know what? I'm gonna put them here, one bench at a time. And as they make their benches, they will make their changes. So, let's go back over here. Put you down here for a minute. I gotta sharpen these. But that stuff there, I could have used it, let's put it that way, but I forgot all about them. I've got shit around here that I forget I even have. Okay, this can get back over here. Okay. This can be hung up here. Yeah, the little hooks. Those can go into a container here if I have enough room. Don't have enough room. Okay. these are 216. Oh, these are chain, and these are the link. Okay. This is mini stuff. Gotta go with the mini stuff. There. Wire. This is wire that I can always use. This is a wire with a jack on it, so I don't want to cut that off because that can be used. And I should have one of these over here with wire on it already. Yeah. Okay. What's this one look like inside? Well, that can still be used. I wonder how many of these I actually have. See, if I have a lot of them, I don't care. But if I don't have a lot of them, you don't want to throw something away that you may need. Now, what the hell is this thing for? This is for putting wire on to plug in so you can test left or right. This would plug into a jack, and then you can loosen these up and attach the wires so that you can either leave it like it is or wire one of these to the same wire that you have there. These are the banana plugs. This is more or less for phone company, but you can use these for power, and that's what they use them for. But they used to use them a lot with the phone company for plugging wires in, you know, and just bank them along. These I'm going to put in a drawer by themselves. Oh no, this I'll put by themselves because that's all grounds. Black is usually the ground side of your connector. The ground side of the power, that's what I meant to say. You guys remember these? No? What's the matter for you? Do you remember this? These are still around. This is all going to go into a scrap container. Will that fit that? I think it will. Good. I have a home for those. I have a home for this. This is going to go in the same scrap container. And I know I have one. There it is. These are going to come in handy. I came home and this stuff was in my driveway in a plastic bag. Wire. Wire. This is all good wire. This is wire that you don't realize you need. That's for, that goes in the other room. You don't realize how much you can use this real little. I mean, this is really little wire. Come on, can I even get it out there? Eh. But you don't realize how often you need that until you're looking for it and you say, oh shit, I wish I had that. So, this is a novelty. Well, for me anyway. These are test leads, but I don't have anything that has a banana plug that small. And I don't think they would adapt to these. No. I mean, even though it does go in, because this isn't heavy enough, it just floats in the middle of the hole. But that's a good set of test leads, so damn. You know what? I'm gonna look around and see if I can find an adapter for them. Because that's a set of test leads that's definitely worth having around because they're small. They're nice and pointy. This goes in here with the other trailer hookup stuff. PL259s. And these are the good ones. Barrel connectors. Good. This one needs a little brushing, but it's a good one. I'll keep that one out for now. Let me put these down here. Barrel and PL259. PL259s. And barrel connectors. Oh, you don't belong up there. No, you do. Believe it or not, those little things like that are expensive. So the tester's going to go right there. This is going to go over there. Oh, wait a minute. I got a place for these. These are cables. What were these for anyway? Doesn't say. Is it a makeup case or something? Oh, it must have food in it at one time, some type of a powder. Because it has nutrient levels on the sides. So let's put these over here. A handle. Nice, nice. Okay. Now, what can I do with these so I don't lose them or forget where they are? Well, these I can't see myself using these. I do have, here we go, I'll put it in here. Let's say, I know I have a drawer here that has room. These are Snap-on. Snap-on. I really don't need this case. And these things here. Because when you know the size you need, you don't need to look. You know what size it is, so you're always off, one way or the other, but I don't need this taking up a lot of room. I don't even need this case for anything. I wonder if I was to cut it out, if it would be, nah, you know what? It's not even worth cutting out. Now this, I've been looking for this a few times. This has the tamper-proof. Now first it has the ratchet on it. And this one is actually reversible. On both sides. I forgot who made this. Oh, it's a Husky. Huh. I didn't think they made it. They didn't come with this case. Now these are tamper-proof, meaning it's got the hole in it. So if I wanted to take something out that has we'll say a hex head on it, but it's got a little dimple in the middle, this is not going to work. I'm going to need one that has a hole in the middle. So they call them tamper-proof. Um, I did have a couple of um, the removal tool for the tamper-proof screws. You know when you if you were to put a screw in and you strip it out, you know, and so you just can't tighten it anymore? Well, figure if you had one that you put in real tight and you stripped it trying to take it out. Well, that's how tamper-proof screws are. They're made to be screwed in, but the back side of it is flattened out. So every time you try to unscrew it, the screwdriver or whatever it is just comes off it. And that's what a lot of these are. Different adjustments, different sizes. Phillips. I actually made one of these out of a socket. Okay. I got to remember where I put this because this is important. I use this a lot and I've been going nuts looking for it. And I don't want to take all these out like I did this. This has to stay in here. I am going to put a label on it. That'll help. All right, here it is. What the hell is that? That bench is next. I got stuff over there I started and I just haven't finished it. So either I'm going to finish it or I'm going to throw it away. I'm done. And I think this winter is when I'm going to start playing around with these diorama things because in the wintertime there's really not much going on, even though I keep busy as all hell. I just did, oh, there we are. But I think I can just sit here, watch a little TV. I'll use the Canon camera because, well, maybe not. Which is the front. There we go. I can set a camera up above me, actually. I got some tin up there. Come on. There. I got this guy in the Coast Guard, nice guy, and he must have become part of the Oxnet team, and he's with the Guilford flotilla, and he's pretty active. So I know if he gets in it, it'll be a help. But between his schedule and my schedule, and especially now, I mean, I'm out here putzing around, uh, but I'm actually doing a lot in the house. And coming out here just kind of relaxes me a little bit because, again, I've been doing quite a bit in the house. Tamper-proof. I'm going to put it right here in this top drawer. There we go. I should make another, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make a second one. And I'm going to mark the drawer. But as I was saying, he's been really patient. And he says, he sent me an email saying that I told him I'd be calling him this week. And he says, well, he was going to be out of town and busy this week. You know, so Saturday would be good. Well, Saturday I actually forgot all about it. So last night, at, I don't know, don't even know what time it was. Whoop, sure, throw some of these on the floor. It was probably 10, 11 o'clock, 2200, 2300. I sent him an email telling him, listen, you call me. That's all there is to it. I mean, because I know that I'm not going to remember. So he says, I'm around Monday through Friday from 10 to 2. However, there are 2 tests that you have to take. In the communications part. So if you haven't taken them, why don't I learn to speak English? If you haven't taken them yet, get online or get a hold of Tom. I can probably give him the test, but I really haven't got time. So he can probably take the test within an hour or so. Alright, so we're pretty well cleaned up here. All I need to do is, this is a snap-on ratchet screwdriver. This is the adapter. An adapter. Where's the adapter plug? I don't see it. Well, here it is. Okay. Yeah, good. So this would go into there, and then you can put your ratchets and sockets into there. Okay, so we're all set. And these are not tamper-proof. Okay, I just got to find a little container for that. And I know I have one. I do. I know I do. And this light is something I got to finish. So for now, let's move these back over here. Because those I have to work on. And let me find that little container. Well, that's on half of it. Are they going to fit? Maybe not. Well, oh, hey, hey, hey. All right. I gotta order some more magnets. I got the magnetic tool strip up here, but it just isn't like they used to be. I know I talk about the past a lot. You know the magnetic tool strips? You can stick your screwdrivers and wrenches or whatever on them. I bought a set of 3 from Harbor Freight. If you look at them, they fall off. Then I was over here at Richland's, which is about the same kind of a store as Harbor Freight, but they sell all kinds of stuff. Some good, some bad. It's not just tools like Harbor Freight, but in their automotive department, they had a set. So I bought a set from them. Guess it's bad. So I don't remember where I bought the set that I had years ago, before we actually moved on to the boat, because I know I gave them away. But they would hold like crazy. I mean, you'd be able to hit them and they'd still stay there. And that's what I need. So what I'm thinking of doing is buying some magnets and just making a strip, because these other ones suck. That reminds me, I think I got a magnet up here. Hold on, guys. There's another one of these. These would, well, there's 2 different magnets, but let me see something. Let me see something here. Hold on there, George. By George. What did I just do? I know I had it here. It's aluminum. Or is it? Maybe it isn't. Not like it. It's heavier. It's heavier. Okay. So let's do this. Let's just see. These don't want to stick to start with. No, these aren't heavy enough. Okay. Put these back. So guys, here's something for you to think about. Frequencies. 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 I'm tired of frequencies. Jeez. When I turn around, there's more frequencies. What are these? More frequencies. Now, what I did out in the yard, out in the front, in the driveway, that you really can't notice it unless the cars are totally out of the driveway and I get the driveway cleaned up. Then I'm waiting for the tractor. They called me, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, and said it'll be another couple weeks. They were waiting for the part. Anyway, the van. The van is a two-wheel drive. And I can't find anybody that does a four-wheel drive conversion on the 13. They all want to do the 15s and up. Now the 13s were being done, but because apparently it's getting harder to get the parts, that they're trying to, I guess, hang on to them for warranty work, which I guess it's the right thing to do. But meanwhile, I got a two-wheel drive vehicle, so I bought chains. Chains would work. It's not a big deal. But putting them on and off can be a pain in the ass, especially for me with a bad back. And trying to work out underneath a snowbank. So what I did was, this being the ground, and this being the front of the house, so this is the road over here. The fence is back here. What I had done was, I dug a hole in the ground, and they're back to back. Looking at them from the front on, there's a pole here and another pole here. So there's a hole here and there's another hole behind it. And I did the same thing here. So there's two holes and then another two holes here and here. I took 2.5 inch pipe and I planted it in here with concrete. And then I came off here with a piece of angle like that. So this is on a little bit of a cant, a tilt. I'm thinking about 8 inches. I don't remember, I'd have to look. This is all welded in. This is all planted in. Concrete. Good job. I got 2 of those. One here and another one behind it. In the ground. Now, what I did, I made a piece that goes across the top. And that has a piece of 3.5 by 10 pipe welded in here. This is wood, but I've got metal framing to hold it from splitting and weld it onto there. So I could take that and slide that over these. And then I have my wood. I have pulleys here, 2 pulleys there, and I ran a cable through and around here and down, and the same thing on this side. And I got hooks on them here and here. And these two come together with a circle. So if I were to pull on this, these hooks go up. Now this thing is about 5.5 to 6 feet high. So my plan was, which I do, I have a hitch that I installed on the back of the van for pulling the trailers and things. I made a winch. Well, I didn't make the winch. I bought a winch, and then I bought a hitch converter, and I got it so that the winch goes into the back of the van. I hook up to there, I hit the button, The cable pulls down into the winch. These come up, raises the van. So now I can put the chains on it. Well, the problem being is the winch wasn't strong enough. Let me show it to you. In theory, it works. I mean, and it did work. I tried it. It started to raise the van. Now I have double batteries in the van, so that's not a big issue or a big deal. And I wired the battery that's in the rear with a quick disconnect. So I can take this and plug in here. Take this, plug into the one on the battery, sit back and raise and lower the winch, which is plugged into the receiver on the van. Well, it was working, but as it started to lift the van, this thing started getting tired. And then every now and then it would jump, like skip. Well, I says, okay, we got to stop there. So I disconnected it from the van. And I hooked this up to the fence post, and I'm unraveling this. I'm pulling it out, using the motor, putting tension on it, weight on it, and pulling it out. Well, what happened was, this cable, when they put it on there originally, it got all tangled and knotted up. Do I have anything around here I can even kind of show you? Maybe with this. I'll give you an idea what I'm talking about here. Hold on. I think I can put this. Yeah, okay. It's like when they were wrapping the cable around it. The cable went like this a few times and then back around the opposite way. So the cable was getting all kinked up in there, and it was more than once. So every time you get to that kink, it would go jump, and then it would start taking up again. So it was really all screwed up because it was like that, and then it was like this, and then it came back around like this, you know, and it was like a half a dozen of these in there, and everywhere it was kinked, it would break. It kept breaking there because it was weakened. So I undid the whole thing and shortened it. So now the cable that's on here is good, but it's still too weak. This is only 2,000 pounds. So I'm thinking, you know, just to lift up the back of the van, how much do I actually need? You know, I have another one of these on my trailer out back, and it pulls the tractor on. Well, it pulls the tractor on because the tractor is rolling. It's not dead weight. However, I did pull the van out of the backyard with the winch that was on the trailer, or on the tractor. So, which is the same one. So, I mean, they do work, but apparently I was just putting a little too much weight on it. And when it pulls up, what's nice about it, as it's pulling up, it's resting the back bumpers on these here, so it's resting against it a little bit, which is also nice. So it's not just letting it swing back and forth. It's pulling up and resting at the same time. And I just dropped something on the floor. Where the hell did it go? Throwing things around again. All right, I'm not going to worry about it. So it's a good idea. However, I'd have to buy a bigger winch. Now, here's where I'm going. If I'm going to buy a bigger winch, I want to make sure it's going to be big enough. So I'm thinking probably maybe what, 6? You know, 2 ton, 3 ton. I mean, whatever it is, I think I'm going to need at this point. Because if it's going to work, I need it to work. That's what I dropped. Or, there's an or here. Do I just leave this alone and use it for white stuff if I need to do something in the back? Because it will pull somebody if they're on wheels. But I noticed the only thing that scares me about it is the name Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight has like a motorcycle lift. Air, hydraulic. And I think I seen 6,000 pounds, which is 3 tons. Well, you know what? If I was just to back the van up over that, because I just want to lift the back of the van up a few inches off the ground. I'm not looking to jack it all the way up. It would probably be a lot easier just to have that out there and hook up the airline to it and lift the van up a few inches when I need it. I can always put the stands under it, just to reinforce it, but will it work? So that's what I need to find out. I got to find out. I got to look it up. I remember seeing it on Harbor Freight on one of their specials at one time or another. I haven't gone to the Harbor Freight site to really find it again, nor have I did any research, because you go to YouTube, if you're not using the exact name, or the exact model number, you end up with tons of different types, Well, I don't want tons of different types. I want the one that they're showing and, whatever it is that they're selling. I don't want a byproduct because it may not be the same. The one that, you guys are showing on the YouTubes may be better or maybe worse. So I got to make sure that I'm as close to the original one that they're showing as possible. And if that's the case, that would probably be the easiest way to go. I believe it was $400 or maybe 500, $4.99. Yeah, they play those games and I fall for them. $4.99, babe, that's $500. No, it's $499. Yeah, well, that's why you see in the store, $9.99. The gas, is $349.9. They make the numbers lower just to make you buy. But meanwhile, because we round it off to the number, and we don't round it off to the top, we always round it off to the bottom. So, and they know that. But meanwhile, that's what I'm trying to think. If I got to go out and spend $400 for a good winch, and then put this on, which is easy, I just take it out there and drop it over. Here, I'll show it to you. And then I take it off. I don't leave it on, because when it's on, then you can notice the unit. And then it doesn't look good seeing that it's near the front of the house. But it's out front there, and you really can't even see it. That's the thing I'm talking about. Now the poles that are in the ground slide into this. I slide this over it. This cable comes down here, comes up and around there, comes down here. Here's the hook for this side. There's the hook for that side. And they both hook in the middle to this. So when I'm doing it, this center is coming up as this is getting pulled down. Okay. Hey, baby. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to be coming in a second, actually. What time is it? Oh, okay. Boy, you look sexy. I think I'm going to come in there and come in there. All right, I'll be in a minute, babe. All right. I'm sorry? Oh, okay. No, no. What are we doing for dinner?
I took out chicken cutlets. I'm gonna, see what I do. Fry them.
Oh, okay. All right. She's walking around with her cane and house coat on. Yeah, baby. So meanwhile, like I say, every time I use that, I have to take that off the porch and slide it down over those four legs, and I'm done. You know, and I just plug in the power. Uh, or, like I say, leave this like it is because it does have a use, even though it wouldn't be a heavy use, but it will pick up a couple thousand pounds or pull. If I had to pull myself out of something from the rear, I can pull myself out of something because I have used this or the same one to do that when I was in the backyard with the van. The yard was, it looked dry, but under the grass, if you touched the grass, you were dry. But if you put a lot of weight, you'd go into the ground a little bit. But it wasn't noticeable enough, so I drove back there with the van to get the trailer. And when I started coming around and back up, and when I started coming up and around with the van, you may even see the tracks because I just planted new grass. You really can't. You might be able to see the tracks. I went back there because there was a trailer back there. It's still there. And I drove around and I started coming up past the tower and coming up here. Well, as I made the turn, even though it looked dry, it was muddy underneath. Clay, which is slippery. And I'm coming around, and as I started coming up here, the wheel started to spin a little bit. So I stopped. And I put it in low and kind of just tried to idle out, and it wasn't happening. So I got the tractor, the John Deere, and I went up there, and I didn't want to put all the weight on the tractor, so I pulled the tractor away about 7-8 feet, and I hooked up one of those 2,000-pound winches to it, and I used it to pull the van, using the tractor as a steady fixed point, and I pulled the van with the trailer up enough to where I was able to just take it for the rest of the way. So it does work. You know, if I had to pull the van out of a snowbank or something, I can do it from the front or the rear. So for that reason alone, it's worth having that. However, is it going to be worth having that turn that off, you know, to where do I want to spend $400 for a new winch and still have to do everything and bring that piece out to put it over, or just buy that so-called motorcycle lift. It was more like a crab lift than it was a motorcycle lift. Oh, you know who I can ask? My wife's cousin. He used to sell and install lifts. He may even have a lift laying around. He was going to install a lift in my garage when we built that house over in East Haven. I took you guys by that. He was going to put a lift in my garage for me for like $2,000. And that was back in 93, 94. I said, well, first of all, I don't have enough room inside the garage to lift. So he came over and looked. He said, I could put a crab lift in here. What that does is it lifts it up just enough so you can like do your tires, you know, and things like that. It takes it about 1.5 feet. The tires about 1.5 feet or so off the ground, almost like a town fair type of lift. All right, the wife is waiting for me to come in, so I'm going to gather up everything and shut down and go in. And I got to take another shower anyway. So this time of the year, I usually take 3 showers, believe it or not. I take one when I go in, then I take another one before bed. it's not that I need them. It's just a habit I've always been involved in. And then I take one in the morning. So I didn't take one this morning, but we're gonna do it now. Let me take this with me. Wingo, wingo, bingo. Shut you guys off.